I'm very careful about whom I let in. My bullshit filter is very, very strong.
Hey, podcast listener, you're about to discover insider tips, tricks, and secrets to making more sales and converting more prospects into customers with email marketing. For more information about the Email Marketing Podcast or the Autoresponder Guy, go to dropdeadcopy.com/podcast. Hey everybody, it's Jon McCulloch here, the Autoresponder Guy, and it's time for episode 8 of the Email Marketing Podcast, where we talk about the top tips, tricks, and secrets for making more sales and growing your revenue with email marketing. Today, I'll be talking to Jon McCulloch about what he's learned from 6 years in the email marketing biz, including his FU strategy to selling with email and why he tries to piss people off with every email he sends. To get the show notes for this episode of the Email Marketing Podcast, go to dropdeadcopy.com/EP8. The Email Marketing Podcast has another 5-star review. Matt from the United States says, Jon is bringing in top guests with actionable content. He pulls the top tips and tricks from each guest and makes sure that each podcast will give you value and help you increase conversions. Great listen. Thanks for the review, Matt. I really appreciate all the reviews, guys. Remember, if you want to leave a review, go to dropdeadcopy.com/podcast. Now, before I talk to Jon, I got one more thing I want to tell you about. It's about an email mastermind. Instead of hiring me to write your emails, what about getting me to coach you? Imagine joining me and 10 other people in an email mastermind. Some of the benefits include, since you're writing your emails, they'll be in your voice. You'll learn how to write emails from me, someone who writes emails for a living. You'll network with other biz owners who have similar challenges, and this has the power to transform your business. Here's what I'm thinking. 10 people, 1 or 2 weekly calls, a forum for discussion, and weekly homework. The idea would simply be to make more sales via email. If you're interested in something like this, go to dropdeadcopy.com and sign up to the email list. I'll be sharing more info about the mastermind and opening the doors in the next few weeks. And if you have any ideas for the mastermind, send me an email at john@dropdeadcopy.com. Now let's go talk to Jon McCulloch. Jon McIntyre here. I'm here with Jon McCulloch. Jon's another email marketing guy. How you doing today, Jon?
I'm fine, thank you, John.
Good to hear, mate. Okay, so the idea here is, we've just been talking about it, is to talk about email marketing and to kind of drill down into the specifics of what each person does. So we're going to talk about what Jon does specifically with his list to, make sales, to do those kind of things. And as you find out in a minute, he gets pretty edgy with some of the stuff he does. So to begin with, let's just touch on real quick, like, what do you like about email marketing, Jon?
For me, it's quick and it's easy and it's cheap. Those are advantages. But what I don't want people, when I say it's cheap and quick and easy, I don't want people to think that that is a major selling point, in the sense that they are just the icing on the cake. For me, what's really powerful about email is it's personal and it's immediate. So if I could do that, if I could make it personal and immediate and it was expensive, I would still do it, because marketing and advertising, it ain't a cost, it's an investment. And as long as you're getting a positive ROI, you should be prepared to spend money on it. So I don't want people thinking that email marketing being cheap is really a good reason for doing it. If it didn't work, like social media marketing, for instance, is cheap and doesn't really work very well for most people. And that's an example of something cheap and easy that I wouldn't bother doing. But that's what I love. So what I really like about it is it's immediate and it's very personal. And, of course, it works as well. It means you can have an ongoing dialogue with people from day to day. And as you know, you get my emails. I've got an ongoing story, for instance, going on in my PS about my puppy Jack Russell and the rats that I've got in the barnyard, things like that. So it's an ongoing dialogue, quick and easy, immediate, very personal.
Okay. You've been doing this for a long time, right?
Yeah, probably with a break of about maybe 9 months to a year. I've probably been doing it for 6 years or so.
Okay, that's consistently writing emails, building the email business, and that's been the primary thing. One of these, the hallowed email business where you just send emails every day.
Yeah, pretty much. I do the things like lead generation. I will do direct mail and pay-per-click and Facebook advertising and all the other things. But once people get into my list, the two main ways I sell to them are by email, which is the by far and away the most popular way of me selling stuff. But I also, when people do then buy stuff from me and I have a physical address for them, then they get direct mail as well. Not as much as they should, because I'm lazy. I should do more direct mail, but email marketing is too much fun.
Right. Okay. So, like, I know you do daily emails. Ben Settle does this too, but you were saying a moment ago that you do this a little bit differently. So let's start off and talk about, like, why daily emails? You know, everyone I know would be like, well, that's going to piss people off. I don't want to write that many emails. What's the big deal about daily?
The thing is, you are going to piss some people off. Of course you are. So what I do is I make it very clear up front that when people join my list, it's you are going to get these emails daily. If you don't like it, fuck off. As simple as that. And I also put in things about, we said before, about my politics and my complete and utter, not just lack of religion, but utter disdain for it. And I make it very upfront what they're getting into. And I tell them, if you really don't like that, you really don't want to be on my list, so get off it. Funnily enough, very few people leave immediately. Some will leave quite quickly because they realise that this guy actually is what he says he is. But otherwise, I play it very close to the knuckle. And I do it daily, and there's ongoing stories, and I keep it current with current events, and it's an ongoing dialogue. So if I send out an email and I get responses, I will then fold those responses into the email the next day or a couple of days later. And over even a short period of time, say a month, people will start to get a picture of me as a human being, as a person. And I'll put my personality in there. And they know me. I mean, one of the things, I think I've written this in my 52 series of emails, 50-day series of emails. When people meet me in the flesh at events, say, or when I'm helping out one of my clients at an event, presenting all things, one of the most common things that people say to me is, it's just like I know you already because I've been reading your emails. Well, people telling me that tells me that I know I'm doing something right.
Okay. How do you come up with ideas for daily emails? Like, I think, I've wondered about this before, is like, how do you have enough information to continue sending emails every single day, day after day after day?
I knew you were going to ask me this. I don't know. Sometimes I ask myself, and I don't know what it is. I mean, there's always something going on. There's a saying that Ben and I are buddies, Ben Sutton and I. And there's something that we both say, and that is nothing bad ever happens to an email marketer. And I think that probably comes from Matt Fury originally. So anything that happens in my day, for instance, tomorrow's email, was it today's? I can't even remember. Yeah, it was today's email that went out this morning from here, was about I got a 38 pence saving in the local supermarket, Tesco. And the woman was telling me as if I should be really up in, oh, great, it's 38 pence. And I was lamenting that there are actually people out there who would give a shit about saving 38 pence, And then at the same time, or not long afterwards, I passed two groups of overweight smoking welfare sales who were complaining that their benefits were being cut. Well, that's just two incidents that allow me to weave in my own fairly offensive politics in saying if people can smoke and can overeat on benefits, they're being paid too much anyway, and they shouldn't get any. Now, I know that is going to offend some people, which is great, but, I don't care about that because I've had about a dozen emails this morning saying, yeah, rock on, John, I like that. Well, they're the people I care about. So that's one idea that just came from an incident in my day. There'll be another one probably tomorrow or early next week. Later in this week. We're on Tuesday now, aren't we? I spent the morning, or a brief time this morning, at my ex-wife's, picking up the kids to take them to school. And it reminded me why I was so glad to be divorced, to be quite frank. That will be woven into a story about if you don't like the situation you're in, you can do something to change it. So that's how easy it is for me. Normally, things are a bit... The last couple of weeks I've been travelling. I'm out of town. When I'm back at home in my office in Ireland, I go out on my bike cycling every day for an hour or 2 hours, depending whether I'm working out as well. And I do a lot of thinking on my bike. My bike is actually owned by the company. I write it off as a tax deductible.
Wow.
I would argue this with the revenue because to me, my bicycle is an extension of my office. And there's enough evidence in my daily emails about I was thinking about when I was out on my bike today. There's enough evidence in my daily emails for me to present to the revenue as a case saying, look, here's the evidence. I actually do this. Okay. Now, I'm not just saying you own this bike with the company for a tax dodge. I work it when I'm on the bike. I get ideas in the shower. People just say things to me. I've got little post-it notes stuck everywhere of just single sentences that people say bring out the ideas. Now, the thing that I think matters is if you don't understand your subject, all the ideas in the world or opportunities for ideas in the world, like walking past the welfare sales and the rest of it, they won't register with you. But if you understand your topic like I do, marketing for small businesses, everything can be turned into an opportunity to send an email.
Okay.
So I don't know if that answers your question or not. It's a little bit like maybe saying to a fish, how do you swim? No good asking the fish. He's always done it.
Right. But I mean, I think the one thing that people need to take away is that there's no magic secret to it. You sit down and write and you come up with stories and you just like sell them on the benefits of whatever you're trying to sell. And a great way to do that is your stories. And there's stories every single day.
Another good source of ideas I get, and I use these quite a lot, as you've probably noticed, and there will be one because I've just had a nice one come in, is when people in my inner circle have a success, I will use that as an email and say to people, look, if you're not on the inside, this is what you're missing in your business. And the only way to get this kind of result for your business from me is to join me in the inner circle. You know, I'll probably get a couple of those, well, maybe one a week, a couple of weeks, something like that. So there's always something to do, always something to write about.
We were talking a moment ago about like the soft information versus hard information. And I've just been reading through some of Ben's material, and he does a lot of the soft stuff where he tells you what to do but not how to do it. But you do things differently, right? You give them more hard, actionable information. Why do you do that?
That's a good question. I don't agree with Ben on everything, and that's one area I don't always agree with Ben particularly, is on how much to give away. Some people, there's a trust thing there. They want to know you can do what you say you can do. And a great way to get someone believing, if you like, is to give them the tools to do it themselves. And there's probably a half a dozen really powerful things that I rotate from time to time. Here's a good one. I give it to people now listening to this. If you've got no business, but you've got X customers, one thing you can do is pick up the phone and ring them all and just say to them, what do you need that you're not getting? And listen to them. Or alternative question is, what's your biggest problem in your business right now? And then just listen to the answer. Don't try and sell anything. Then call them back a couple of days later and say, hey, Fred, I was thinking about our phone conversation the other day, and I've thought of 3 ways I can help you solve that problem you told me about, or 3 ways I can give you what you told me you're not getting. Well, I know people who've done that. It costs nothing. Every single person who's ever done that has got business straight away. And I will often throw that tip out there. And people do it and I think, Jesus, this works. And if he's giving this away, what else does he have under his little bald head that I could pay for? Now, Ben and I have got different views on that. Well, that's fine. We don't have to agree on everything. We're not married or anything,
That makes sense. What about, I think you do 5 days a week on your business newsletter. Should some people be doing 7 days?
Yeah, it's interesting that is. My general rule of thumb is if you are selling B2C, you probably want to do 7 days a week. If you're selling B2B, maybe 5. That said, literally just this week, I was talking to a client of mine who's a very big shot in the UK in the small business marketing area. And he says he's been having really good responses with Saturday emails to his business-to-business list. So from this week, and this is another tip for everyone, kind of I walk the walk, I'm an implementer. So from this week, this Saturday coming, I'm going to be emailing 6 days a week.
Okay.
And I'll see what happens. I mean, theory is that on a Saturday, often people are pissed off that this is Saturday and I hate my job and I've got 2 days off. And if you give them something that's going to make their lives better, they're in a very receptive frame of mind.
And what about, do you do this permanently? Because, so I've seen people, and I've done this before when I've written for people, I might write them like a 10 email autoresponder that goes out for a month, every 3 days or something. But it sounds like what you're suggesting is that you just never stop emailing people. You're always sending them something.
Yeah. What I do, and this is a kind of technical thing, down to deliverability. I've got a rolling process, 30-day kind of sequence or process, that if someone on my list, or anyone on my list, if you've not replied to an email or clicked on a link or done an open that can be registered by the system, and there are some even complications in there. So I prefer a link click. So if you've not shown me or my system that you are reading my emails and responding to them in some way or reacting to them in some way, you get an email saying, hey, you've not responded or you've not acted on something for 30 days. If you don't do it within the next 10 days, I'm going to kick you off. And 10 days later, if they've not clicked a link or replied or responded in any way, they get removed. And most people won't have the balls to do that because it's like, oh, this is my list. I can't be mean to my list. Fuck that, man. If you're not listening to me, I don't want you on my list because you're just dead weight. And you're not opening your emails. Well, if I've got 1,000 people on Google with Gmail addresses and Gmail says, hey, this guy's sending all these people in our email system these emails, but they're not opening them. Well, he must be a spammer. So, it's not the case that dead wood in your email list is harmless. It actually tells the people in the Gmail, Hotmail, Outlook, all those people, it actually tells their systems, this guy is sending stuff that no one's interested in, give him a lower rating of importance. So it's actually a good thing to take off the deadwood from your email list, even though it's counterintuitive. And you may have paid for those people to be there by paid advertising.
I mean, I was shocked when I had an email from Mind Valley. It was about 2 months ago. And I was on one of their autoresponders, but I'd stopped opening the emails. And they sent me an email just saying, you've been unsubscribed. I was blown away.
And it's great positioning as well.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you seem so exclusive, so selective.
Yeah, I mean, there are various things I'm going to experiment with in the next year or so. And one of them is actually having an email list, maybe secondary to my free one, that you pay to be on. Now, it won't be a lot of money, maybe only $5 a month or something, but I'm just going to give that a go.
Okay. I've heard people having success with that, because once someone's given you $5, they're much more likely to give you money for whatever other products you have to sell them.
Yeah, a buyer is a buyer is a buyer. I mean, I've got people on my list who've been with me for at least 7 years, if not longer, and they basically buy everything I do. I could probably wrap a turd in silver paper and they'd buy it. They might not buy anything else after that, but they would buy that.
Right. So everyone's probably picked up by now that you use a lot of bad language, dropping F-bombs here and there. Do you ever find that, obviously you don't really care about these subscribers that you piss off and make them unsubscribe, but do you ever worry that you're losing sales from this, or it literally doesn't bother you at all?
It doesn't bother me at all. It really doesn't. The thing is, I suppose if I sat down, I could chart the stats, and I could probably draw a graph with 2 lines, and where they intersect is the sweet spot. And that would give an indication of how many F-bombs I can drop and how politically incorrect I can be. But I don't care. I just do not care. I mean, I make plenty of money, and I don't care if I make an extra 20% because I stop swearing so much. It just doesn't worry me. The other thing is this, and it really started when I was a copywriter, and I was taking on copywriting clients. And I found it hard work. I went to BNI and all the networking stuff at the local chamber, wearing a suit, being nice to people, being kind of, inverted commas, professional. And it hurt, and it didn't get me any business. So I thought, well, I'm poor anyway, so I might as well be poor and happy and be obnoxious. So I started being obnoxious and, just being me. Because I also figured that at some point, anyone I work with is going to find out the kind of guy I am, atheist, libertarian, not politically correct, or anything else. And at that point, if they really object to it, it's going to become difficult working with them. And that's actually happened before with a bunch of Mormons, believe it or not. So I thought, if people know what I'm like up front, I'll never get that problem. No one gets close to me in business terms, or any other terms really, but I'm talking about business now. Nobody gets close to me in business without knowing exactly who they're dealing with. And if they don't like that, they won't go any further and they won't pay me any money. And that's all great. And that's fine. More power to them.
Yeah.
But it means that the people I do work with, and people in my inner circle, they love it and they love me. Now, the thing is, it pays off because my retention rates, well, in my kind of thing, it's a bit like the Dan Kennedy newsletter thing. So there's a paper newsletter, CD, telecoaching call, and a discussion forum online. And for that kind of membership, similar kind of price as well. So for that kind of membership deal, in my industry, the average retention rate is 50% over 2 months. So people come along and 2 months later, half of them are gone. Well, for me, I keep people on average for at least 85% of them stay for a year or more. My results are off the scale. And I think that's for 2 reasons. 1, because of the way I run the group, and 2, because I'm very careful about whom I let in. My bullshit filter is very, very strong. And nobody joins if they're wilting flowers, shrinking violets, or the rest of it. They just won't. Great, don't want them there. So, and my opt-in, my sign-up rates are good. I mean, something like 8.5% of people who join my list go on to join my inner circle. So it's not like I've got a very small number of people who stay a long time. The opt-in rate is high too. But I begin, even on my opt-in pages on my website, I'm immediately positioning myself as someone of a certain kind that, I only want certain kinds of people on my mailing list. Well, that's why my opt-in page is 2,000 words long. Right. Because I immediately start the positioning process. I don't have this try and catch everybody and hope that some of them stay. I don't want certain people on my list because I just can't be bothered dealing with them.
Like all the rage when you go on, all over the internet, it's all about trying to optimize to get as many opt-ins as possible. But like you're saying, is that it can be far more effective to polarize and only get the people that are actually going to care about what you're offering, and that's it, and forget about the rest entirely.
Definitely. Well, you can't sell to everyone anyway. You really don't want to be honest.
Right. Cool. We're just coming up to about time. So just to summarize all this, so we got daily emails. People should be sending them. Number 2 is be real, polarize people. So swear, be yourself, whatever that ends up meaning, depending on the person. Yeah. Don't be too extreme though, right? And tell stories. And then the last one was just don't try and get everybody. Do you have anything to add to that?
You cannot please... Well, yeah, I can actually. That's another reason for being yourself. You cannot please everyone. You can't even please everyone some of the time. No matter what you do, someone's going to hate you for it. Yeah. So you may as well make sure that at least one person is happy, and that is please yourself. Okay. And here's an interesting thing to leave people with. I have both men and women on my list and in my inner circle, and I cannot recall a single instance of a woman complaining about my bad language or being offensive in any other way. It's always the men.
That's very interesting. I would have thought it would be the complete opposite.
The women love it.
That's really cool. All right, man. Well, thank you for this. Thank you for your time. Before we go, tell people where they can find you, and then we'll say goodbye.
Okay, the easiest thing to do is to go to my website, which is jonmcculloch.com, which is spelt JONMCCULLOCH.com, and read the opt-in page, 2,000 words, and then just leave your details at the bottom. And if they want to get on my daily emails that are fresh, as opposed to the pre-written 52 idea sequence, they can just reply to the first email and say, please put on your daily list as well, and I'll do that.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I'll put those links in the show notes so people can find them there. Thanks again, Jon, and see you soon.
All right, John. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening. If you want to discover more insider tips, tricks, and secrets about driving sales with email marketing, sign up for daily email tips from the autoresponder guy. Go to dropdeadcopy.com/podcast. Sign up, confirm your email address, and I'll send you daily emails on how to improve your email marketing and make more sales via email. You'll find out why open rates don't matter, and the 7-letter word that underlies all effective marketing, and much more.